we're quite happy to see come back to fruition here this time.
Poor Cube, man. I mean, this is a guy that unfortunately gets the short end of the stick sometimes, unfortunately doesn't have the greatest games at times, and this man just gets banned out. Like, they just focus him and they say, yeah, man, we'll take him off comfort and we'll kind of give Zwayon a really easy lane, I guess we can call it. Looking at some of the lock-ins here, we're going to go with Jarvan over for the side of TN. Going to get paired up with a Karma. Underrated combination is Jarvan with an Enchanter. Everybody talks about Xin with an Enchanter, but Jarvan can make great use of Enchanters.
Can do the similar sort of thing with the Ezreal getting locked in as well. That's that pick that we were highlighting, saying it is just really, really strong right now, so no surprises that it does get picked up by WE to begin with and about. Just looking as well at how this broke down ahead of time. Top Esports got first option of what they wanted. They chose counter pick. WE elected to take blue side, so we get to see a 2025-esque draft based on those two approximations, those two picks. But for WE here, it is going to be what is already building towards a very strong, very cohesive team fight with that Ezreal, with that Ryze, playing in that mid, playing in that long range, and you should be able to use this Bard to set up early on. I really like Bard for Aha as well. We talked about him as a really big playmaker. I'm excited to see what he can do on the Bard here, to see if that can push WE a little bit further ahead.
Yeah, should give him some good opportunity to roam around. Karma can as well, but can't match it nearly as well, so Arha should have opportunity there. I am a little bit worried for what Team WE is doing. I think for most teams, I'd be really happy with their draft, but I think they spike really hard on two items with, you know, Ryze completing a Rod and Ezreal getting his Muramon Eternity Force. But they like to fight way before then, and I feel like Team WE could just fall into the same traps of being like, hey, we like this fight, let's take it. Oh wait, our Ezreal and our Ryze aren't that strong yet.
Yeah, and you know, you're looking for that 2-item spike. Largely for Ryze, you're kind of looking for 3 items, and without phase rush as well, you're a lot more susceptible to falling in the earlier stages of the match. But for Top Esports here, they've got themselves what is going to be counter pick mid lane, counter pick top lane, and especially up against Cube, where we highlighted this earlier on. You know, Zwayon is one of these players who's more than happy to take these fledged counter picks into that top side. I'm curious to see what it is that he'll elect to go for. Obviously, he's going to need to see what Cube finds is that pick first of all, because Top Esports so far have got a very go-forward composition. I'm glad to see that Sivir ban has come off the board, because this is a very sort of dive-esque style. I mean, the Jhin feels like the next logical ban that they might go for if Top Esports are just going to look to go all in, no gas, or all gas, no brakes, just flying forward into this WE comp.
Yeah, I expect that Zwayon is not going to pick a tank, so that would mean that JiaQi should be on Jhin duty. You know, it's fine sometimes, especially when you've got a Karma with all of these other champions too. Like Jarvan standard can actually make it easier to get Jhin roots happen.
They might even go Varus. Oh, never mind. Varus is banned away, so it's not Varus.
Yes.
That's fine. I see this Neferi ban, and I'm cooking too hard. So they're just going to play it safe. This makes a lot of sense. Sorry, completely cut you up there for that.
Oh, no, you're good. Although, maybe they will elect to go a little bit more aggressive. It does mean that you're not really able to leave your Ezreal alone nearly as much if you opt into the Caitlyn, but instead they will just say, hey, we're going with this Jhin. It's tried and true. This is going to be our pick. Now, Team WE, we're going to have their last couple of options here. Monki has not had his selection come through yet. There's a Jace lock-in, used to be famously in the jungle early on in the season, but not so today. We're going to get the Lee Sin lock-in. He had an incredible Lee Sin game against Weibo. Let's see if he's able to do it again.
Yeah, I don't mind this Lee Sin coming in. It gives them some early game pressure, and it's something that they're going to need in the early stages, because they don't have a great deal of that early game playmaking. That Bard needs somebody to go alongside it to make things happen. The Ezreal, the Ryze need those couple of items to come online. I don't mind the Jace as well as an attempt at a lane bully here. And I know we were talking a lot, Yanni, about this top side for Zwayon needing to be something damage oriented. And I don't hate what Top Esports have done here. They've gone for the Cassante up against a composition of WE that doesn't really have tank shred in it outside of Karis. So it makes sense that they've gone for this, but this does give us that concern about the Top Esports roster. They've gone for no damage mid lane, very sort of dependent scaling damage in JiaQi later on into the game, plus TN, who can maybe get the ball rolling early on, and then a tank on that top side. But I am concerned that if Top Esports sort of don't get snowballed, they might struggle to be able to kill people. And I think that that's a double-edged sword here, because WE also have very squishy members. There's nobody on that roster that is going to be able to sit and tank. So if a full combo comes through, odds are the person on top esports, or the top esports, are going to take down the person from WE. So whether or not they've got enough in the tank for a full team fight.
I'm so with you there, Rood. I mean, I do think that the good news is you're putting the game on Tien's shoulders, because he is a guy that can shoulder that burden. But the bad news is I don't think you had to with this composition. I think that if you had that, you know, carry coming out of the top lane, you could play for team fights for Jarvan, for Annie. Now you have to play for, all right, well, everybody on my lanes have CC. I have to go in as Jarvan and go and make some plays. It's going to be a little bit harder against Monki's Lee Sin. You know, Monki, it plays fearlessly, will absolutely take any fights if he thinks that he can win them. So we'll see what Top Esports is going to be able to do in this early game. We're hitting Summoner's Rift for game 1 of the final best of 3 series of the day between Team WE and Top Esports. All right.
Good amounts of Yaoyaos on both sides, I'd say.
Yeah, you know what? It's nice. It's refreshing to see whenever Team WE get a couple of Yaoyaos themselves. You're always feeling pretty good about that. JiaQi and Fengyue getting early advantage down in this lane. Not too surprising. It's whenever you can hold on to that 4th shot, especially with Karma-empowered Qs, you're going to get some summoners burnt.
Yeah, double sums burnt there by WE. JiaQi takes about half of his HP there. Fengyue does have the heal to try and top them back up if they need. But I mean, we've got Lee Sin versus Jarvan here, Yanni. I want to talk about these two junglers because they are the get ready and get going duo of junglers, as we see. Creme and JiaQi, is that 100 match days that they've played together? Which is really nice to see for this new, sort of, I won't say a new duo, but Creme, you know, he's been on Top Esports for as long as I've been here at the LPL, and I know that it was his sort of first season away from a weaker team. He's had a really good sort of progression through the start of this year. So it's nice to see that there's an attribute, a milestone being attributed for this game. But it's all about this Lee Sin and this Jarvan early on here, Yanni. Monki, I think we're seeing, recognize that.
Flash for flash, Monki with the ward hop. Won't dive that turret. Cream's got far too much HP for that. He'll head up to his top side, go and secure those. This does mean that Tien is aware of what is happening here. And Monki's got a whole quadrant to clear while Tien does not. So opportunity here for the Jarvan main.
Yeah, Monki spent a bit of time obviously going through the mid lane and then deciding on where on the map he was looking to find that early gank. Recognizing that the Karma Jhin bot side wasn't going to be as easy to get an access point to as they might have liked, but an early flash burned on the Annie. I know Cubby's a big fan of saying this. That's now your walking money bag. If you can find an opportunity to get into that mid lane, try and find 300 gold, right? Take down Annie with no flash. And for Creme, it's now a case of, well, I have to pretty much seed everything. I can now no longer really ever get priority without putting myself in danger. But Tien here knows that Monki is going to be on that top side because he takes so long to clear those early camps. Misses the Q on the respawn, but he's going to be able to steal away the second spawn.
One thing to mention is that Karis is also flashless, so it could be some opportunity for Tien to go ahead and make a play there. He will kind of poke his head in for a little bit and then head down and start taking care of this crab for the moment. So all is generally quiet at this time. Are not really getting too many opportunities to move early on because a bout is under siege. Green teleporting in here. See if anything happens as Tien's about to walk in.
Yeah, well, we'll hold the point here because Tien and Monki are about to come to blows.
Karis is on the way and the ward was there. Monki getting knocked up. Looking for a bit of a turnaround. Now Karis is going to try to get his machine gun rise damage out, taking Tien about half HP. Monki might want to go back in, but he will instead think better of it and head to that top side about getting rooted up and is down very low.
Yeah, think there's actually an angle for a JiaQi flash Q there. Maybe they just weren't sure of the barrier cooldown. I know that it wasn't available when they went for it. It is now. But about a risky E forward there means that he definitely has to recall after that one. And for WE, I'm not against them playing to this sort of 2-item spike that I'm expecting from them. Doesn't find the stop on the recall.
We got the auto
floating
off
through the air. But I'm not against this game being a little bit slower by WE. For Top Esports, I think that they're the ones who are a little bit pressured to make something happen, and we'll see whether or not Creme and TN can make that happen here.
Karis gets stunned. Arha, though, a good cover here means that TN's not going to be able to get in. He'll instead just head back up to his jungle quadrant. So far, Team WE have been in the face of Top Esports when they can, mostly through Monki and Karis. But things are quiet, and again, with the 2-item spikes that we're expecting WE to be so strong on, this is generally a good, solid, safe start for them. Triple tier items on all of their laners.
Yeah. I mean, this is the quintessential 2-item spike, really. You pop your tier in your inventory, work towards that first item, finish off the Muramana or the Archangels, and then by the time both of those two things have happened, you're hoping that you're in a pretty good spot to try and take some fights. Now, for Top Esports, they have got tools to make things happen early on, right? The Karma can speed up a job, and the Yanni can look to try and make some plays once that flash comes back up off of cooldown. And I think that these neutral objectives as well for Top Esports are something I'd really like to see them turn their attention to. They've been establishing prio down on that bot side rather consistently. TN has been that little bit faster on the jungle clears, and he's going to be the first one to ding level 6 as well if he's able to secure this crab down on the bot side. And that should mean that they can find an objective, they can find that dragon at some stage through this early game.
Karis now level 6, and you can already see he's leaving his lane, maybe trying to make an impact. Good ward coverage on the bottom side here by Top Esports means that it's going to be a little bit harder for him to actually get that done down on a side that he can actually affect. Dragon is up, and with all this vision for Top Esports, they can always opt into it at any time if they want. But for the moment, they won't. Just get Tivers dropped on Karis' head, down to half HP.
Yeah, it looks like Monki's trying to find another fight around these chickens. Obviously, no Tibbers for the instant burst on the Yanni, but obviously he's still there.
Cataclysm there. He's got no ward hop. He will kick TN out of the pit. Monki waiting for this to fall off. Will flash, get stunned. Karis is moving over. Fengyue is going to be to the play first. Flash flag and drag does not land. Karis desperately trying to get away. Will step back into the realm warp. Will survive with about 150 HP.
Yeah, lovely little sidestep there. The double flashes come through from Fengyue and TN. Now, this does mean that the Rise is going to lose out a little bit here on this mid wave. He's going to miss out on about a wave's worth of experience. But it's good that they're able to survive, and that's a lot of Top Esports' early power mitigated for the first 2 minutes, or for the next 2 minutes, let's say. Obviously, it doesn't come at no cost. Creme is going to be a little bit further ahead on the Yanni than the Rise might have liked, but it comes at a cost that WE should be happy to give.
Yeah, when you scale harder, that's okay. Ezreal's going to come in, cancel Creme's back. Nice job there by About. And, you know, any time that you can pull Top Esports' attention and not let them get any kills, and they're not actually advancing the game state, you are in a very good spot as Team WE. The Grubs have now spawned. If I'm Team WE, this is the first objective that I'm actually looking at here, is let me go get these Grubs for Cube. So the Dragon's been started up by Team WE.
Yeah, that True Shot Barrage opens up this Dragon for them. Creme wasn't able to get back to base on the sensible recall timer, so he ends up losing out on a lot of minions as well, pretty much neutralizing that mid lane advantage that the previous gank had got. And it means that he's also not going to be out on the map to stop this Dragon from falling. So WE buying themselves 5 minutes, really, and that's kind of what you're looking for with this composition that wants to get to that scaling aspect, or has some scaling aspect. You're looking for just any time to be able to be bought for you, and that's exactly what Dragon has done for them.
Another Tibbers dropped on the head of Karis. He could take him down to half HP, and means that he's not really able to effectively realm warp. He's going to have to heal up off that catalyst, but with Tien and Fengyue showing up into the mid lane, it's going to make his life a little bit harder. Grub is going to be started up here by Team WE. Top Esports does not want to give this one up. Monki will snap up one of them, but the rest of the Top Esports squad will show up, and we'll get out.
Yeah, Grump needs to be tipped well for his taxi services after that one, but Top Esports need to get these Grubs. They need to find some sort of neutral objectives here. Their composition at this stage in the game should be stronger. There is 1,200 gold on WE, which has been spent on mana. And, you know, that currently isn't giving them any damage. So I'd like to see that be progressed. I'd like to see them leverage this advantageous early composition that they have for themselves. And if that's by the way of getting 2-to-1 grubs, and that's about it, that feels like we could be doing more.
Grub left on 1 HP, but Arha wasn't able to get close, so it's a 2-for-1 in favor of Top Esports. It's a good takeaway from Team WE, but they don't really use grubs that well themselves.
Well, I think as long as you're sieging, you're using grubs well. I sort of always have been of the impression, okay, grubs equals split push, but the way that they are currently, it's just grubs equals any sort of push, and they can open up so many angles for you as a team to get a little bit extra than you might have been able to previously. I mean, it's a 2-to-1 split, so it's not going to be astronomical by any means, but just the spawn of the little grubbies is going to be really useful when looking to siege down on these turrets. As we take a look across the board, there are small laning advantages for everybody on Top Esports, seemingly out of just their lanes. So it's not nothing for Top Esports here, but we need to see more.
Credit to Yaoyao, up about 300 gold in the melee versus ranged matchup. It's a tough one to deal with, but Yaoyao, before he made his debut in the LPL, known really for being a tank player in the LDL, has deviated from that since getting called up, but has occasionally shown a couple of games on tanks, and this one's just another one that he has done a fairly good job on so far. We'll see what his all-outs look like in some of these later fights.
Yeah, and I mean, Rod of Ages breakpoint hit here for Karis 11 minutes in. And for Yaoyao, sorry, as you were mentioning, he's full build now versus the Jace. He built plated steel caps. So, you know, he's feeling very happy. There is also, obviously, the Doran's Helm now, so that makes it, you know, that laning phase maybe just a little bit easier to sustain up against a Jace. And now you've reached that breakpoint. There's nothing really that the Jace can do to you. If he jumps in, you just go all out, and, well, we'll see.
Well, Cuba's got a lot more HP right now than Yaoyao. And here comes the Realm Warp out of the Rise. Yaoyao already had to flash away, but it's not just Rise. It is Monki too, and first blood goes to Karis.
Yeah, and I mean, that looks like Cube had that on his own, so I might have to have taken back some of the things I was saying previously, but it is going to come here and give the first blood over to the Rise, as Fengyue now in a little bit of danger. Tien sniffing for Monki.
Like this look here, Monki is getting very low. Gets cataclysmed. Here comes the shock blast at a Cube. Tien gets the kill. Cube over the wall, ready to take this fight, but he doesn't have a whole lot of mana. Creme is on the way, but Tien's caught between a rock and a hard place, and it's a second kill for Karis.
Karis is smiling right now, 2-0 on the Rise. He needs to be the one in this game to kind of push WE through. As we were looking at this composition that WE have drafted for themselves, we highlighted that their tank shredding capability comes pretty much from this Rise in the mid lane. So if Yaoyao becomes a little bit of a problem, it gets out of hand later on, it's going to need to be this Rise who's the one in charge of stopping that from happening.
Creme walking into an unrewarded brush there is going to take a lot of HP because, again, Karis sustaining, has a little bit of damage now. Team WE, a very good spot. 25 seconds until this dragon is up. Let's take a look at this replay. Tien wanted this.
Yeah, and Monki with no kick after that top gank kind of just has to take this one and fall, using his W just to clear the camps. Obviously, you know, pretty standard Lee Sin stuff. Might have been able to ward hop over this wall into that, you know, ward that we've got in the brush here to maybe buy a bit more time. But either way, I think this is a worthwhile trade anyway. You're getting kills onto your mid laner versus kills onto Jarvan, who this game in particular isn't going to have the easiest time of things. Usually Jarvan's job, cage the enemy AD carry, kill them if possible. But the Ezreal's always going to be able to arcane shift back out. The Jace probably can Q something to get out. And yes, you can Cataclysm the Rise, but if you're locked in there with a Rise, he's probably killing you first.
Cube got a little bit more out of that play. He did end up taking the Gromp as well. This is an extra 80 gold in his pocket. Now he's up about 200 gold on his lane opponent. But Karis is the guy with the lead right now. So looking to see him extend this and really be the guy that Team WE is looking for to carry them in this game. He's been so good on Rise here in 2026. His 11th game, 7-3 currently, looking to make it 8-3. This Dragon is up, so a lot of members down the bottom side. Arha took a
Karis
journey, but so does everybody else. They want it so bad. Arha is low. The turn is here on the Tien, and they can't take him out. Arha lives on a sliver. Double teleports coming in here. Swayon lands first. He's got his big shield. Arha stuck in the back of the pit, and Creme's going to be able to finish him up. Monki leading him on a chase because the Yanni gets cut off, and Monki is still alive. Everything's falling apart for top esports because the carries are carrying, but Swayon's all out. Here comes a curtain call. First, he gets Cube. Now he's looking for Monki. He takes him low. Swayon will get it as the turn is there, but Karis is still alive. Now it's about Karis versus JiaQi and Fengyue. Karis in the 2v1 forces the flash out of JiaQi. He locks up Fengyue for the moment. He's got double buffs, and he's got another kill. 5-0-1 for Karis, 15 minutes in the game.
It is a bloodbath, Yanni, in the bot side of the river, and nobody comes away with the objective, so we could very well get take two in just a little bit of time here. Replay instantly from the observers, and we love to see it here. WE looks like they've started chucking away Arha. Instead, all three members go through the portal, make it look like this is a WE win through and through. But you want to keep your eyes on Karis here, constantly looking to do damage and keep crucial targets zoned away. JiaQi has to walk around the river here to try and get into this position. Now Swayon again on this Cassante actually has a pretty solid team fight here. Multiple double, triple Qs coming through. As yet, we're right back to it.
Yep, in the middle of everybody is Monki, and he gets pulled back in and will finally fall. Arha down to about half HP. 5v4 for top esports for the moment. If I'm Team WE, I'm getting out of here. Don't fight it.
Oh, no. What you don't understand, Yanni, is WE have got range here. Now, they may not have a jungler, which is going to dissuade them from looking to try and take this play. We are going to try and use this timer to try and get something on the map. Tier 1 turret is going to be defended by top esports, and that's the first big win for top. That fight down on the bot side, pretty even overall, a 4-for-4 in total. But obviously the big winner, Karis, 5-0-1 on this Rise, is the linchpin for this WE composition in Game 1.
It's really nice to see the growth that Team WE have put out since the start of this split, because I think that Team WE from a couple of weeks ago would have just taken that fight, but instead cooler heads prevail. They understand that they have the scaling on their side, which is something that we've really talked about. They understand that they're still waiting to hit their 2-item spikes. They're starting to get there. I mean, look at them. They're all at 303 on their tiers, which is honestly very weird. But, I mean, listen, they're right there. They're ready for those upgrades.
Yeah, once we... I mean, and Karis has even gone for a slightly later Archangel's upgrade as well, opting into that Seekers really early on. Maybe expecting that he's going to be the target now, given the fact that he's 5-0-1, which is a pretty solid foundation, I would say, of ideals.
Well, Creme getting caught here by Arha's ultimate, but Tien is right on top of him, so there'll be no further advance there.
I'm not sure if that was just me there, Yanni, but we did a little bit of time traveling during that. We saw Arha fire 2 ultis then onto Creme.
No Echo, no Zillion, and yet we still have these capabilities. Teleports coming in from Karis here just to really defend this turret. This does mean that Monki is now alone on this Herald, and Swayon is going to move over. JiaQi wants to get in there as well. Monki will be able to secure it, kick him away, pick it up himself, and will escape no worse for wear.
Yep, job done for Monki here, and he's had a really good showing in this early stage of the game. Obviously, 1-3-3, not the most glamorous scoreline, but I think taking a Dragon and taking a Rift Herald is probably not what WE should have been able to get in this game. Nevertheless, they have found it anyway. Monki has found it anyway, so good to see that this Lee Sin, whilst it has not had those flashy big kicks just yet, has definitely been able to make something happen for the squad. Now, I do want to call out here, just before we get too deep into the items, that at some stage I would like to see Cube, Monki, or About pick up a Serpent's Fang. 4 out of 5 of the champions in this game on top esports have got shields, so it has an insane amount of value here if they can find the time in their build path to put it in.
Yeah, I think if I'm Cube, that's my next item. I'm going to go complete my Muramana, and then I'm going to start up on my Serpent's Fang. We're getting a really early Herald usage here. Not going to do it to secure the Dragon, but will instead do it to get a charge off on this bottom side. Let's see how good Monki's driving is. It's pretty darn good. He's got his license. They want to shovel this gold into Karis. Top Esports, as you said, looking to defend this. So not really getting the value you expected out of this Rift Herald, WE.
Well, they are very close to breaking all of the outer turrets here. Mid lane's on its final plate. Bot lane is, you know, one crystalline overgrowth from falling. So I think this is an investment in the future by the WE. At some stage, they are expecting to be able to walk up and hit a turret. And, you know, they took down the top tier 1. They've got mid tier 1 again, very low. Mid lane and bot lane in the same sort of position with that sense. So, yeah, they don't get the gold now, but I think that in... We'll call it an amount of time in the future, there's going to be a lot of gold that they can quickly go and mop up if they need to get that for an objective for a fight.
Right. Got an ultimate down onto JiaQi. Big chunk of damage, but again, Tien and Fengyue are there to make sure that the AD carry stays alive. And now Monki could find himself in a little bit of trouble. Hops away to Arha. Nobody getting rooted up. Baron has now spawned. And it's already going to be the site of a bit of a fight here. Curtain call coming out will force Monki away. And that Scuttle Crab will go over to top Esports. A lot burned just for the Crab. Karis should be able to get the start.
Yeah, there's that bot tier 1 that we were talking about. It's going to very easily be picked up by Karis. One swift auto attack should finish this one off. Thank you very much. And that's the Rise getting even more gold here. 45 seconds away from the Dragon. He's going to go back to base, likely finish up a second item. And he's going to go to finish the tier, which is what I would anticipate. Yeah, there we go. Picked that one up just a little bit ago. Maybe you can even get a needlessly large rod before this Drake spawns. But 30 seconds on it. Both of these teams going to love getting Infernals, obviously. For top esports, there are no tanks on the enemy team, so any damage that you're doing is sticking quite reasonably. And for WE, they've got to get through Cassante, so any damage that you're doing is going to do pretty well for you.
One thing to notice, Karis is now level 14 with a full EXP bar. So he's going to go to level 15 with this Dragon up in about 5 seconds. So he is going to be the largest level in the game for the moment.
Ah, I see.
So on picture was just that replay of that
going for it.
Start of the fight. Yeah, you know, I respect the look out of Arha here. We did say you need to be a bit of a playmaker sometimes. A bit of a fake out here with Karis' ultimate.
2 items for WE. Everywhere on the board have got upgraded tiers for this fight.
Yep, they are so ready. 2000 HP and dropping, but we have Cube going for the mid lane turret instead. Dragon secured by top esports. The fight's about to break out. Karis getting a little low down to about half HP. What a stun by Creme! What a knockup by Swayon! And Team WE have quickly fallen apart. Monki goes down next. Karis says, dude, where's my team? As he has to flash out. Curtains for WE off this curtain call. 4th shot, bang, flush. Right onto Karis as he trades one out. But top esports win the fight big.
And it's all off of Creme there. Proto Belt flash, triple stun. Swayon wastes no time, follows up on the engage, and it is gorgeous. And you can see that WE, they've got the damage. About on Karis, nearly 2v5'd in the back half of that. If Monki, Cube, and Arha were actually alive for the fight, Lord knows that that could have gone their way. But it all went so wrong so quickly. Top esports are able to find the Dragon, they're able to find the fight, and even up against this 2-item Exodia point of the game for WE, it's top esports that come out on top.
I'm not sure I agree with the decision for Cube to go into the mid lane. You are so much of your team's poke. You have Jace Ezreal. You can soften up top esports with these shock blasts. Instead, you don't take that opportunity. Top esports are feeling good about their health bars. A slight misposition and a huge opportunity seen and converted on by Creme. A big reason why top esports have a very small gold lead for the moment. Let's take a look at this replay, Roodood. Break it down.
I do think that very frequently Creme here has been the playmaker for top esports, even in their losses. Proto Belt goes for the triple stun, and importantly, he leads it with W as well. So there's no buffer, there's no timing where that Tibbers comes up, there's no channel for a flash opportunity for WE. They all get caught. Swayon follows it up.
Here comes Karis. Karis has found JiaQi on the backside here. Gets him to about half HP, but Fengyue with the root, good peel. Yaoyao gonna peel back too. Karis at about half HP. Shock Blast doing good damage. Knockoff. Karis goes golden and dodges out on the tippers. Here comes the curtain call. Karis is in trouble. He's gonna roam warp out. Arha gets that fourth shot blocked by About. Here's the Cataclysm. About shifts out. TN goes too deep. Monki goes back in. Shock Blast from Cube. Drops the hammer down on Yaoyao, who dashes away on a sliver of HP. It's a 2-for-1 for Team WE.
Oh, it's a certified cluster in the mid lane right there. WE and Top Esports giving us what for at every given opportunity. And you can see the damage that is currently in this WE roster. It is absolutely astronomical if they can land their skill shots. Jace, Ezreal, Ryze also reliant on those pivotal spells on landing. But we get to see here this flank coming through. Karis straight onto JiaQi. Hits him with the root, lands 1Q, but then this EQ can't quite find the damage, can't quite connect on it. Then, as we see the regain gauge from Top Esports, it's Creme who biles all of his damage into a stasis, goes for the W and the ulti. Karis hits that stasis button, able to get out of danger. Now I was terrified here that Cube wasn't trying to block for Ryze. I think JiaQi wasted one of his bullets. But you can see, look, Tien goes in, 2000 HP, in a second, dead. Through Karma Shield and anti-shields as well.
There's an instant barrier coming out from About as well. That Jarvan Cataclysm did do damage to him. It's only something that you would just barely be able to hear, as it was honestly frame perfect. And once again, we will do the dance here in the river. They're going to dump all their damage into Yaoyao, who is very tanky. Finds another double knockup. Teleport coming in from Creme as Monki is taken down 1 minute and 14 seconds before the dragon.
Crab secured by Cube there with a shock blast, and
nice.
That is the Serpent's Fang in his inventory. So third item has been picked up. And it is the Serpents that we were hoping for, but with no jungler here, we get the sense, Yanni, that it may not just be a mid-wave that Top Esports are looking to claim from this one. 20 seconds still on Monki. I mean, I think they've spent their time walking around the Baron as opposed to actually going for it. And they're dangling JiaQi out here as bait. Will WE bite?
WE will bite for anything. If they were a fish, they would bite the hook with nothing on it, man. I mean, this is a team that truly embodies the spirit of the LPL, where you just fight over anything and everything, whether it be small jungle objectives like crabs, whether it be just a little bit of room on the map to get some wards down. They are always down to fight. Serpent's Fang completed for Cube, something that we shouted out a little bit earlier. Karis, no stasis, because that Seeker's arm guard's still broken and not yet going to be completed.
Yeah, he opted into looking for his, presumably, actualizer coming through before they went for this fight, or before they went for that fight, which means he's not going to have this for 1,700 gold, 1,600 gold. He's going back to base now, has no TP. I think they're conceding this here. You know, they've already sent About back. There's the Zhonya's finished, so they do have that for future fights. But this is now sole point picked up for Top Esports.
I kind of like this. You know, you've already had your spikes come through, and right now you're definitely not as strong as you once were, because Top Esports can kind of equalize that gap. Yaoyao is really hard to move right now, so you're kind of relying on your Ryze that's such a late game menace to kind of take you over the top. So give Karis everything he needs. Trust in him.
We're trusting in the fact that when Ryze hits Actualizer, maybe a Death Cap or a Void Step after that, we'll be in a lot of a better position. Just going to quickly call out About's inventory again. Second tier for him. This is Ezreal with some buffed AP ratios, so presumably working towards that Seraph's Embrace, maybe opting into a Zhonya's after that, going for a sort of hybrid Ezreal build. Has already got a Slow It built in with that Cyrilda's Grudge as well. So if you can get up to that Seraph's nice and quickly. At this stage in the game, you've got so much CDR, you've got so much haste that getting through these spells and getting through those tier stacks is going to be much easier than it was in the earlier game.
Hopefully About has already tried to actualize their Ezreal and determined that it's not very good, because I've already tried that and determined it was not very good, and I don't think you need to be a pro to see that. A little bit of jockeying for a position here as this Baron is up, but again, no Dragon for 3 minutes and 45 seconds. It would be Soul for Top Esports. They have put themselves on Soul Point, and getting an Infernal Soul would be very big for this composition, which we earlier said doesn't really have a lot of damage, and so far they have used their CC well enough, have had good target prioritization. It's a big reason why they haven't killed it.
I mean, if we zoom back in on, you know, our presumed playmakers here for this game, we were looking at the supports and what they might be able to accomplish. Fengyue is doing incredibly well on this Karma, has got that Shirelius to keep people going nice and quick if they can't provide a shield on the go. And, you know, 11 out of 12 kill participation has pretty much been everywhere. Joined with the most, actually even alone with the most in his team. So I think Fengyue here, again, playing this Karma quite well, keeping himself safe, keeping his team safe with that Echoes of Hellier in the back pocket as well.
And on the other side, Arha has kind of struggled. These Tempered Fates really have not been landing on the targets that you need them to go on. If he lands one of these, we could be really looking at a different fight. But yeah, it's almost at a now or never situation here, Roodood. That's why I'm going to get poked out. It's not really going to amount to much for the moment. This is not the guy that you can pick off. Team WE keep dumping damage into him for some reason.
Yeah, well, I mean, any damage is good damage. It's just whether or not they're costing themselves things to do said damage. But we've got 3 items, like you've mentioned, finished for Cube. And it's very decided that there are gold advantages distinctly across all of the roles, right? Top and jungle, there's a decided advantage one way or the other. Mid lane, Karis is so far ahead of Creme that it's not even funny. And JiaQi Love here, quite far ahead of About as well, working towards that last Whisper item. If he can pick that up, he's going to be nice and strong for this coming Drake fight, presumably in about a minute and a half's time. But looking again over at Karis, he's finished up that actualizer. Creme, though, going for a very greedy third item, I would say, in the Rabadon's Death Cap, going to be looking to do actual damage on the Yanni for once.
He does have his flash available, so knows that any damage is good damage, as you just said a couple moments ago. And if he gets it down, Top Esports will be in a good spot. All summoners available for all players across the map at this point in time. Minute until this dragon is up. Top Esports have total control of this top side. Perhaps might be down for a trade of objectives.
Cube with teleport is fine to be down here. There's nothing stopping him. Top Esports can't threaten the Baron. They know that they'll just lose the TP on the Jace, or that Jace can TP, and that'll be fine. Fengyue getting poked out a little bit by the various Mystic shots as well. But WE playing this map really nicely. 2.5k gold lead, 30 minutes in. And we'll see here, because we sort of criticise Top Esports for their composition not having too much damage, but on the same side of that, we've got WE who are not particularly tanky themselves. Again, in these 5 versus 5s, we're expecting it to be that WE can come out on top, gold lead as well as compositionally. JiaQi Love has just hit 100% crit chance though. 600, 700, or 600 and something odd AD on the Jhin is nothing to scoff at, especially when we look down the roster and I'm trying to find a lick of armor on anybody, maybe a little bit on Arha, but that's about it.
Arha gonna use the Mikhails on himself. Teleport was already used by Cube, so he doesn't have the shield. About takes a big chunk, and now Zweon shows up with that 30% shield. We don't really see a lot of poke going on to Top Esports. It's really Cube that's doing a lot of the heavy lifting, getting Fengyue very low. Good sidestep by him as well. They haven't had a chance to hit some of these other members right now. Fengyue can kind of stay in the back and give shields as necessary. Monki trying to look for a bit of a flank here. The Dragon has been started up by Top Esports. About is down to half HP. Monki gets in there, finds JiaQi Love, flash away, Cataclysm, knockups, Timbers as well, burning everybody away. It's an absolute rout, Roodood, as Top Esports get the ace.
And it is a clean one at that. They lose one member. It's the support, and Top Esports get everything out of that bot lane play. They're able to take Soul, and even down 2,000 gold, they take the fight as well. Baron comes up. Baron will be taken, and Top Esports take firm control of this game. Monki going in here, you know, it's really obvious, it's really telegraphed that he's going to be able to get onto JiaQi Love, but look at how Top Esports respond. Zweon, he gets knocked up, but then immediately turns onto all 4 members in that backline. Tien, with a monster re-engage, actually stops everybody in their tracks. He's the one who doesn't get caught with the knock-up. It's the Jarvan flag and drag that stalls WE, and then Top Esports can just turn, tail, and fire.
This is why you should vote Tien for All-Pro. All-Pro voting is coming up very, very soon. You can go and join the Discord using this Gigi code. It's right next to Tien's beautiful face. big in the damage department, big in the gold department, big in the knockup department, and big in this game
plays
one.
department. Yeah, that was crazy for TN. I mean, both junglers, we highlighted them as well, that they were going to be really important. I like to see the fact that Monki's looking for these plays, but TN, they're just outdoing Monki.
Siege is on here. Team WE put up a good fight for a lot of this game, but could not win on their 2-item spikes, and it's a big reason why they're in the position they are in now. It's Infernal Soul for top esports. There is a tempered fate, but it does not do anything. Creme blows up about, and that will be the domino that knocks everything down, Roodood. Top esports are at the Nexus turrets. Team WE looking for a defense here, trying to serve up JiaQi Love on a silver platter, but he stands tall in the face of Team WE. Monki gets knocked into his Guardian Angel, while Top esports knock the rest of Team WE into respawn timers. A final ace and a Game 1 victory for Top esports.
And in the end, that was all it took. Just one fight, and Top esports turn the game on its head. They find the Baron as well. And from there, just absolute chaos ensues. It was never close. After that, I mean, it was only like 2 minutes left of the game. But Baron picked up, game ends 2 minutes later. That's how you close.
Yep, we've seen so many times this season, Roodood, where teams will get the first Baron, not be able to finish the game off. You have to wait for the second one. Top esports, they said, no, we got Soul, no worries. We're going to be able to take care of business. When you get that injection of raw power along with that Baron, especially when the game has been tilting your way, it's a wonder that they did not struggle. And for Team WE, good effort by them, honestly. I was really encouraged by what they did in this game. I think they made a lot of really smart decisions in the early.
They did. They were certainly... I mean, they were ahead for 25 minutes of this game, right? Other than the Dragons, but we highlighted that finding that first Drake was going to be really important for them. Monki did that. It bought them that 5 minutes, and I think if they'd have, if that fight had been better executed by WE, they had all of the tools to be able to win it. They just zoned in, dialed in so much on the Jhin that kind of didn't see the rest of the pieces that could fall around you, and didn't respect what Tien would be able to do on this job. And I think that it was him in those final team fights alongside Creme who truly were the massive playmakers, who were the people that kept Top esports in that game. And I mean, for WE, they had all of the tools, they had so many chances, and they had every opportunity. They just couldn't quite see it through and take it over the line.
Make no mistake, the turning point of that game was that play by Creme. That 3-man Annie stun that just went down in that brush that was like, essentially, all right, you lost your opportunity there, Team WE. Everybody gets knocked up. It's just a crazy fight. And then, again, Karis is kind of left going like, what the heck happened? I think that if that fight doesn't happen that way, we're looking at a very different game. Again, I mentioned in the moment, I think that Cube should have been with the team there as opposed to getting that tier 1 turret. I think it was a little greedy there. I think that when you have the poke, you got to get it done. Roodood, let's talk player of the game here, because I think there are a lot of really good options for Top esports, because I think they all played pretty equally good. I have to say, although Tien had a lot of really good setups, I think Zweon's knockups were like so clutch to allow that extra second for Creme to be able to follow up. It was so perfect between the three of them that I can't really decide.
I mean, I'm at a loss as well here. I think this could be a split vote quite easily. I think that Creme, again, he's been so good in the clutch. I think that Tien looks great when Top esports are ahead. I think that Creme excels for them when Top esports are behind. He's the one who's keeping them in this game, and I think that in this instance, he did the same thing once again. So I'm looking really at a Creme player of the game for this one. I know, looking at those damage numbers, JiaQi Love deathless on the Jhin this game. Yeah. Didn't fall once, which is also going to be a pretty big boon for him, a big sort of tick in the plus column for him receiving MVP. Fengyue was everywhere on the map as well, getting everything done for Top esports. Like, I think that this was a very difficult game to call for any direction. Yeah,
a real team victory by Top esports, and It's a shame because as well as JiaQi did, and you saw the damage that he finished with at the end of the game. He had 37k damage, the leader by far. I just can't give it a player of the game performance because the impact by everybody else was so important. But you know what, Roodood? Maybe Zweon, Tien, and Creme made so much of an equal impact that they say, we can't decide, just give it to JiaQi. He went 7-0 and 10.
Yeah, we can't decide, and I think that would be very valid.
How can you not with this play? How can you not?
I do think Creme gets it for me, and I've been...
Beauty.
I've been a serial Creme hater in years gone by, but I'm glad to see that is no longer the case. I've been putting on... I've been on the Creme hype train this split, and I think that an MVP or a player of the game for this one would stand out for me. I mean, you can see here that Karis, 1v4ing on the backline here still survives. Like, both of these mid laners had pretty solid performances, but just in these team fights, it was unfortunate that we couldn't see WE take all of the fights that they needed to, or take them as well as they needed to necessarily.
Yeah, a couple times just not exactly on the same page, and I think if Team WE were able to get that extra kill on Zweon here, we're also looking at a very different complexion for the game. Here was this beautiful flank that looked like it was going to work out so well, and then boom, Tien saves the day. Zweon comes in with the knockup, and it's curtains after that. I mean, these replays are a thing of beauty, or really a team that is in sync, which is nice to see after the slide that they've been on.
I think that WE here, they kind of fell into a pitfall of their composition as we get to see the final attempt, but you can see so well that as soon as there's any threat onto JiaQi, it's Tien that's there. It's the rest of the team just following up immediately to try and keep him safe. But that they have this Lee Sin, which doesn't particularly fit with the rest of their composition, where you've got Jace, Ryze, and Ezreal, who are all so good at kiting, and then a Lee Sin, who in a kiting comp is just, like, so useless. So they all get baited into going forward with the Lee Sin. And then when they go forward, they recognize, hold on, we're supposed to kite back, we're supposed to absorb, and that costs them very dearly. Where if they'd have played it slower, the slower team fights are more favorable for WE, but the Lee Sin incentivizes them to go quick, and then that costs them even more.
Yeah, it's a shame because it was very impactful in the early game. We saw that Tien wasn't really able to do anything, right? Obviously, if you look and you're like, oh, well, the Lee Sin didn't do anything, this is great. Well, yeah, but if you're shutting down this Jarvan, not letting him impact these lanes that already don't really have a lot of damage to them, but a lot of CC, I think that was generally a positive thing. It's a big reason why Team WE had this early game setup that looked so good. It's exactly as we predicted, Roodood.
Yeah. They
could not decide, so they gave it to JiaQi. Again, a very deserving performance. Who knows? Maybe it was just a unanimous one. We'll find out, but it definitely deserving for JiaQi.
Yeah, again, 34% damage percentage on the team is incredible. He played very well throughout this entire game. I just don't think that his impact, like you say, was the one that carried the game over the line for them. I think the rest of the team did a very good job at protecting him and facilitating this player of the game for him.
All right, now we got to look at these votes because we got to see how ethical this is. Okay, we got to vote for mid lane, mid lane. Okay, 5-3.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't. We didn't have a vote for anybody else. We didn't have one vote.
Once again.
Yeah, for real. We didn't have one vote for Tien. Like, come on.
Nope.
All right. Decent split, though. I would say that is ethical in the best sense that you can get, I guess. Speaking of ethical, we are ethical here over on the LPL English broadcast, which means we give our casters a break. So we are going to go and take that break. And when we return, we'll be in the Game 2 draft between Top Esports and Team W.